welcome. Great to see you all. So yesterday we started our 5-element Qigong and we explored what those 5 elements are and how they're interconnected and interrelated with each other. And then we learned about earth element. Earth element, the movement was very much related to our stomach and spleen. The 2 yin, or the yin and the yang organ. And the season we learned was late summer. So we're in sort of earth time of the year, and we'll soon be moving into autumn. My Japanese maple has its very first red autumn leaf. I'm so excited. Autumn is the time for metal element, which we'll do next week, which is lung and large intestine. So we're starting at the right time, late summer. But some of you are really quite interested in the meridians and where do the meridians flow in the body? Where do they begin? Where do they end? So I have a very short YouTube section just to show you where the stomach and the spleen, because that's what we're focusing on with his earth element, where it runs in the body. So then as we're doing our earth Qigong, we can imagine or visualize the movement up the stomach and the spleen. So they're the yin yang organs, as I said, so they're connected. So can I invite maybe Abigail, can you take yourself off mute and just say, yes, I can see and hear, because when I screen share, sometimes I disappear or you disappear or something. So we'll see if I can do this. Hold on, there we go. So just bear with me. It's here and it's 1 minute 22. Hold on. So can you see something there, Abigail?
Yes, yes, I can.
Okay, 1 minute 22 is around about. Oh, I can make it go big too. Okay, so it starts just at the bottom of the eye. So this is the stomach meridian going down the body. So you can see in here, okay?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thanks, Abigail. Okay, stomach meridian comes up the side of the head. So when we're doing our washing the chi, see we go up the stomach meridian as we bring our hands up. That's the stomach meridian. And then the stomach connects to the spleen, which is the next organ. Up on the inside of the leg. Finishes just down on the side of the rib cage there. Okay, so hopefully I'll find you again. Stop screen share. There we go. Are you back?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so clever when I do that. My goodness. Pat on my back. So for some of you, that will be really quite interesting. And, you know, as we're doing it, you can imagine it starts just down here. Sometimes if you've got a stomach ache, you might notice that this point here is a little bit sore. Or sometimes like on the side of the leg where it went down. So remember it went up. And sometimes if you've got a stomach ache, you know, it affects the head. And that's why like a headache in Chinese medicine, depending on where the headache is, if it's here, perhaps it relates to stomach. But if it's here, we know that's gallbladder 20. So perhaps that's relating to the gallbladder. So depending on where the headache is, says so much about, you know, potentially what's causing it. And so then the stomach came down the front, as you saw, and then the spleen's coming up. So we know that stomach goes down because what happens if the stomach chi comes up? We vomit. That's the, stomach chi going the wrong way. We want stomach chi to go down, not up. So actually, when we're doing washing the chi at the end, we come up the stomach meridian. So really, we shouldn't. We should be coming down the stomach meridian because you don't want to move stomach chi up. No, no, no. Okay, so as we go through our earth element, if that resonates with you and you, in your mind's eye, you can just sort of, draw that line in the mind following the meridians, or you might just notice the body. And as we're doing the earth element, certain sensations in different parts of the body may arise or may not. That's okay as well. So when I first started Tai Chi 25 years ago, the Tai Chi sparked such an interest in traditional Chinese medicine. That's why I started studying Chinese medicine, because I really wanted to, this Lao Gong, what's that about? And what point is that? And where does that relate to other points? And this Dantian, what's that? And the opposite Dantian, the Ming Mang. So there's a whole wealth of knowledge that, and there's so many layers in our Tai Chi and Qigong that you can just keep going deep and deep and deep. And, it's lifetimes of learning. So isn't it lucky we've got lifetimes together? All right. So how about we go through our warm-ups together, and then we'll go straight into our earth element. So I'll pin me, so I'm always very big. There we go. And again, sitting, standing, whatever feels right for your body today, please listen and do appropriately. I'm going to stand today, but I trod on my dog yesterday, so I'll make sure that they're on the leg. Come on, come up here. Come on, over here. Good boy. Stella, come on, pop up here. Good girl. Come on, pop up. Come on. Good girl. Okay. So please just make sure you've got a lovely space around you and you're not going to tread on any dogs or cats. Not very good, is it? Okay. Did we say, yeah, we did say hello. So let's just feel that connection with the earth. Even weight down through the heel and the ball of the foot. That's easy enough to check that weight distribution in that forward and backward motion, but also check into the weight distribution. Put the weight on the outside of the feet. Can you feel how it opens up the hips? And then roll the weight on the inside. And can you feel how it sort of closes down the hip? So we do want that point of the ball of the foot as well as the outside, and then the heel as that sort of triangular, the center of the heel, for our weight to go straight down. Relax the abdomen. Let's begin. Arms up. Tucking our chin in. Just doing what feels comfortable in your body. Lengthening the neck, looking down. And again, remember we talked about pushing down into the ball of the foot? That's what helps the arms rise. Good. Lowering down. And last one, so sinking into that kidney one, that ball of the foot. Lovely. Reminds me of like a pedal or something that brings the arms up. And push. Okay, second one for the neck up. Traditionally, we look on the left hand, right hand down. And turning. I remember this is very un-Tai Chi. We're just isolating the neck joint, changing over. With a hand at the hips, remind me, don't move the hips. It is a neck exercise. Very un-Tai Chi. It's not a Dantian turn. happens to the weight distribution when I displace the weight of the head one side? It's very subtle. You just feel into your own feet. When I'm in my midline, where's the weight? And as I'm turning the head, how do I counterbalance that turning of the head weight? Our head weighs, I think, about 1/8 of our body weight. So by moving the head, we're displacing that 1/8 of our body weight. So we have to be making minor adjustments. Otherwise, we'd have to fall over. So it's very, very subtle, but just feel down into your own feet and notice whatever it is you notice. Good. Hands down. Fingers touching the sides, the gallbladder meridian, and then it's a very small rotation. Small circles. Good. And then small circles back. A little wider in the stance. And palms out. Remember, it's an extension. Extend through this joint, through this joint, through the wrist, through the fingers. So extending out and around and still. So it's directly ahead. If you see it side on, then I simply sink down and push down. Good. So it's not, some people think it's like sort of like this, but can you see when you do a circle like that, the elbows come up? No, it can't be like that. It has to be more forward, because then we keep all of our alignment. And if we go back to the principles always in Tai Chi, that's how we can sort of problem solve. How to do this movement. So extending, loosening the joints and sinking down. Much better. And it's the breath that brings the arms up. And it's the breath that sinks down. Good. Holding on to the ball. And turn. And roll. Here, we're displacing our weight side to side. What happens to that weight distribution on our feet? So when the ball's over here, where is my weight on the feet? As I turned on Tien and the ball moves central, what's happened to the weight? And when I turn the other side, what's happened to the weight on the feet? It's an exploration in your own body. There has to be subtle changes in your weight, but it's very subtle. So sometimes it's hard to catch. But just checking in, paying attention. Noticing what you do. Excellent. You can see why they call Tai Chi mindfulness in mindful movement. Excellent. Okay. Spiraling up and down. And change. Good. Lengthening up and down. And relax. Soft knees, soft elbows. Excellent. Last one. Stretching up and down. Okay, so moving into the hips. If you want to grab a chair for balance, please do. So arms float up. And shifting weight, hip width apart. Here. Keeping the spine upright. The back heel is just off the ground. And change. Heel. Ball of the feet. Stretch. And change. Heel. You feel the weight shift. So the weight's on one foot. Where is it on the one foot, on the ball or on the heel? And when the leg goes forward, where does it go as a counterbalance? When the leg goes back, where does the weight go on that stabilizing foot as a counterbalance? Do one more either side. So checking into that weight. So subtle, the weight shift. But we chopped our leg off. Our leg weighs a lot. We're moving that, displacing that weight forward and backwards. We have to adjust our weight so we don't fall over. I don't see anyone falling over, so you are making subtle weight shifts, adjustment on your feet. Good. Okay. Pushing to the side, opposite foot out, and change. The body does so many small adjustments, and often we're not even aware. So Tai Chi really helps to bring that awareness to what we're doing. Relax. Let's do one more, either side. Final one. Good. Okay. Down into the knees. Very loose fists. So I turned Dantian slightly off center. That's what actually brings the foot out. Place our foot. And then I turn Dantian back to the front. Excellent. I can always see my front toe. I turn Dantian back. That's what brings everything back. And change. Turn Dantian slightly off center. Place our foot. And remember, it's like those tennis players making a serve. Good. And moving back. Lovely. Placing our foot. Shifting our weight. Last one, either side. Final one. Excellent. So we'll go to the kick or the bending of the knee. Bending our knee and stretching out. And coming back. Again, if you need something to hold on to, that's okay. Let's feel nice and steady. If you want to kick off the ground, that's okay as well. Or tapping on the ground, whatever works. Interesting, our balance comes and goes. We don't often have the same balance every day. So good to check my balance right now. You know, whether we're tired or not tired. Lots of things affect our balance. Whether we've got, I don't know, a cold or not, might affect our inner ear. Lots of things can affect balance. Heel, flexion, extension of the ankle. Oh, everyone's head is upright. Fabulous to see. And change. Here. Good. And outside and inside. Lovely. Try to keep the head upright. That's better. Good. And change outside and inside. Outside. Okay, stretching the hands out. And relax. Stretching out. Relax. We talked the other day about trying to have equal spaces between our hands. Often they're not equal. So just check yourself. Equal spaces. And relax. Breathe in and out. One we haven't done for a little while is the tapping. So relax the shoulders and just let the hands relax down. And it's along the thumb and the index finger. It's lung, large intestine meridian. Just tapping, tapping, tapping. Good. We turn the palm up and tapping along the heart meridian. Relax those shoulders. Good. And then the thumb and the little finger tap, but the three in between don't. That's what it looks like from the top. But the fingers are facing the sky. That's comfortable. Excellent. Tapping, tapping. Fingertips tapping. Tapping. Good. And then let's have our right finger, index finger comes forward. We separate our fingers, move along one, left finger forward. Just alternating. Good. Fantastic. All right. Nice to warm up the hands. I think we're supposed to do that first, but I always do it last. Okay, let's just recap what we learned with our earth element yesterday, and then we'll bring another layer in. So yesterday we focused very much on the standing. We talked about how the separation from the yin and the yang. So, you know, it's like the, before the yin and yang separates, this is what we are doing right now with our feet together. And then sinking into the right foot, and we peel the heel, the ball. We touch the ball, the heel. So this is an empty foot. There's no weight there yet. And then grain by grain of sand, we shift our weight across. We're double weighted. We sink the shoulders. This is a yang style opening. So your palms are facing down. And then the hands float down. The shoulders relax, the elbows relax, the wrists relax, and the palms come opposite dantian. We take 3 breaths in and out. We don't particularly move the arms, we simply breathe in the belly and letting it go. The arms are like a ripple effect throughout the body, that breath. Well, the breath is like the ripple effect. And then we bring the arms up and we sink the shoulders, the elbows, the wrists, the hands. We shift our weight right and we bring our feet together, touch down first and then adjust our weight. Great, and shaking out. So one of the things in our commencement form is really thinking about how to initiate that action up. So once our feet are here, so you can either imagine there's like, string attached to your wrists. And if the wrists are floating up, that's one way of conceptualizing it. So it's kind of like it's from the wrist joint that's pulling up, and that will stop us from having really, really stiff hands. We just need relaxed hands, okay? So from the wrist joint coming up. That's one way, or the other way is to think about that lovely seesaw analogy. If you see kids sitting on a seesaw, one ends down and one ends up. And so imagine our arms as a seesaw. If I sink my shoulders down and back, then the opposite part has to come up. Sink the shoulders down and see how the arms come up. Just like a seesaw. And then when I come back down, if I relax the shoulders and I sink my elbows and I sink my wrists, it's like the fingers sort of have to float up and then they come down. And again, the analogy I often use is, as a kid, I used to get a stick and put a ribbon on it. And, you know, if you move the stick up and down, the ribbon sort of flows up and down. So the arms are like the ribbon on the stick. And I guess the body's like the stick. Okay, so let's just think about those arm actions. We know that the arms always start beside us. That's the gallbladder meridian. So they have to somehow come around the front. And so I just like to, we need a little space under the armpits, but they come around initially. So the back of the hand is facing forward, and then sink the shoulders, which lifts the arms up. Good. And let's just go down again. Relax the shoulders, sink the elbow, sink the wrist, and let the fingers float down. Again. Good. And always connecting with our breath. Let's just try that a couple of times. So we've talked about sinking into the ball of the feet. It's a very subtle movement, but think about, let's try that. So sink into the ball of the foot. And to me, it's like a button that presses the arms up. Good. And then to come down, we actually need to shift our weight very, very subtly back. Let's try that again. So coming up, a very subtle sinking into the ball of the foot. Brings our arms up. And then subtly brings slight weight shift back. Brings the arms down. And relax. It's very, very subtle. But what we're doing with our weight on our feet, connecting to the earth, is of course having a ripple effect through the body. So now we're getting into very, very subtle weight shifts. Initially it was like weight in the right foot, weight in the left foot. That's quite gross. You know, it's really obvious weight shifts. And now we're just exploring tiny weight shifts forward, tiny weight shifts back. And you know, how does that affect the arms? You know, if you go forward, the arms come up, you come back, the arms come back. So don't believe me, please. Try it in your body and see if it's your experience as well. That's really, really important. Okay, let's go through. We'll do the 3 breaths. Yesterday we talked all about the Dantian breathing and how that simply the arms are expressing that ripple of the breath through the body. So standing tall. That bahui, the top of the head is pulling up. Excellent. Let's begin. So weight's in the right, so you can move the empty foot, the left foot, touch down. And then adjust the weight. Sink into the ball of the foot. Relax the shoulders. Excellent. Sink slightly back to bring the hands down. Lao Gong points opposite the Dantian. 3 breaths in and out. Very small movements, but the whole body is breathing in. The whole body is breathing out. Good. That's our 3rd one. So to bring the arms up, a slight shift of the weight forward to bring arms up and back. Good. And then to bring our feet in, shifting our weight. Feet together. And relax, shaking out. So you could see from looking at the meridians that the stomach started up here at the eyes, and it came, you know, up around here, down the front, down the feet, and ended up down at the toes, and the stomach connected to the spleen meridian. So the spleen started on the big toe and came up the legs and up the body, and actually finished around the side of the rib cage, sort of around here somewhere. So if you would like, and if your memory serves you well, the basic pathway of the meridians, let's try it again. And each breath in, it's going to be very rapid, moving down the stomach, and then each breath out, coming up the spleen. And we'll do that 3 times. So it's a visualization of following the chi down these meridians. If that works for you, if not, just do whatever works for you. That's what I'm going to visualize. Okay, so standing tall, connection with the earth. Remember, we're about to do earth elements. So be like a mountain, be like the earth, nice and steady and strong. Let's begin. Thumbs up. And starting just under the eyes, just visualizing the movement down the stomach meridian, coming up the spleen. The eyes coming down. And coming up from the big toes to the side of the rib. The third one, arms float up, floating down. Weight shift and feet together. So what's the point of moving the awareness along the meridians as we're doing movement? There's quite a few different ways you could answer that question. But one of the ways is the mind needs to anchor onto something. This is such a simple movement on one level. You know, we just breathe in and out and let the arms follow the breath. So we could very, very easily be preparing our dinner tonight as we breathe in and out. That means the mind is somewhere in the future and the body is doing the movement. That's no good. So how can I anchor the mind into this moment? So I need something for it to do. And by having the complexity of, I've got to remember where the meridian went, and it's a very fast process. So, it's every part, the very beginning, the middle, and the end of the in-breath, you're occupying your mind. And then there's a little gap between the end of the in-breath and the beginning of the out-breath. And, another time we'll explore what do we do with those gaps of our breath. And then on the beginning, the middle, and the end of the out-breath, we're giving the mind something to anchor to as well. So, it is quite lovely to give the mind a moving object as well, because it's less likely just to wander off. Whereas if you've ever done any meditation practice, there's all types of meditation practices, but one classic one is just noticing the breath. And if you notice, the breath is actually like a moving object as well. But often we try to keep the mind steady and watch the breath come and go through, as the anchor. So it is interesting to move the mind with breaths in and with breaths out. If that doesn't resonate for you, don't do it. Simple. Okay, let's go through again, and I would like you to anchor the mind into something as we're doing it. It might just be the breath, or it might be the meridians. It might be just focusing on the tongue on the top palate and keeping our attention there. It might be on the dantian. It might be on the weight shift. But on something, choose one object and keep your focus there throughout. Let's begin. relax. It's quite lovely. Everyone finishes slightly differently, which is terrific. It means you're going at your own breathing pace. Excellent. I would like us to touch with the next movement. The next movement is the next element according to that cycle that we watched yesterday. So after the earth element, we move up to metal. And the way I remember the relationship is if I dig into the earth, I find metal. So that's how I remember what the sequence is. So from our earth element, the metal element relates to our lung and large intestine. So the metal element is simply bringing the hands up, fingers face the sky. We've done this in many other movements. We simply breathe in and the arms express that breath in, and we breathe out and they come back. You do that 3 times. So it's a breath in, opening, and a breath out, relaxing. This is our metal element, nourishing our lungs and large intestine. And then we always come back to earth. Earth occurs between every element because everything arises from Mother Earth and returns to Mother Earth. We always need to feel very grounded. How do we feel grounded? By connecting with Earth. And then we can close the form. We bring the arms up and lower, down, feet together and relax. Good. So we've been doing this open and close movement for a long time. So just a few reminders. If I put my hands on my head, that's my perfect Tai Chi ball. See how there's gaps and spaces between the fingers? And it's the right sort of shape. So if I've got a short squat head, I've got a short squat Tai Chi ball. If I've got a long thin head, I've got a long thin Tai Chi ball. So it is head width. The breath expands the whole body and the hands don't really go past shoulders. So if you're on Zoom or something, you might be able to see your own image and just say, oh, my hands don't go past my shoulders. And then when I come back, my hands, again, if I put my head down, it's, head width. So it's not too close. It's head width. Again, it is that opening out and relaxing. We imagine that the elbows have heavy, heavy weights on them because even a small movement of the elbows out is going to affect our shoulder joint. No good. So elbows are just down and relaxed. So as we breathe in, they're still sinking down and relaxed. And as we breathe out, they're still sinking down. Many of us will notice that one hand will be subtly higher than the other hand. Why is that so? Many of us have one shoulder that is slightly tighter than the other. And so again, it's expressed through the hands. So it's very, very subtle, but we do want our fingers to be completely opposite, because if one shoulder is slightly elevated and our hands are like this, it means the lower Gong points aren't connecting. So that's a tricky thing, isn't it? So let's just check our fingers. Are they completely opposite? As we breathe in, and as I breathe into, they stay opposite. And then as I breathe out, good. And then something we might notice, many of us, and it might be one hand or two hands, will rotate one hand out slightly and one hand back. Why is this so? Perhaps if our muscles are not very well balanced, and not many people have well balanced muscles, if this muscle here is stronger than this muscle here, when I'm doing a completely symmetrical movement, the stronger muscle wants to work. So the stronger muscle rotates that hand out. So that's my working hypothesis as an OT. about why, because I notice many people will subtly open their hands out and then come back. And when you do the analysis, usually that muscle is so developed, usually from bad keyboarding activities. And we all need to develop this side of the muscle. So really that and that muscle should be the same, but it often isn't. So there's quite a lot to really contemplate in this action. So let's have a final run through for today from the beginning, earth element into our metal, back to our earth and finishing off. Rightio. So standing tall, feeling that connection with the earth under our feet. Relax the abdomen. Let's begin. The earth element, stomach and spleen. You dig in the earth, you find metal element, lungs and large intestine. Come back to the earth element, just letting the hands float down. 3 breaths in and out. Try to keep your eyes open, even just a softened gaze, but please keep your eyes open. Arms float up. Lower down. Breathing in. Feet. Shaking out. Well done. Okay, watch out where the dogs are. Let's do our cool downs. Why do I want you to keep your eyes open during the Qigong? Because it's very relaxing, easy to close the gaze, close the eyes. It is quite important that can we be in that beautiful meditative space with our eyes open? This is good training for us to develop that. The other thing is it's actually not very safe to keep your eyes closed. Maybe one day you're doing Qigong in the forest, and if your eyes are closed, you can't see, I don't know, the wild elephant coming towards you or whatever it is. We do need to be aware of our environment. So we don't want to just switch into the internal environment. That's why we need to soften our gaze, but please keep your eyes open. Very important. Thumbs up. And also when we close our eyes, it affects our balance as well. So it's a safety thing as well. Sinking down. And shaking out. Let's take a seat. Something we haven't done for a little while is some of our actually we haven't done our tongue exercises. Remember, I think we've done them in the past, but if you have your tongue and you place your tongue on the outside of your teeth and trace around the outside of the upper teeth and the lower teeth 3 times, create a lot of saliva. Saliva is the beginning of our digestive system, and it's a really good thing to swallow the saliva. So let's try that. We all look silly together. And just notice, what direction did my tongue want to go? Did it go clockwise or anti-clockwise? And then go the opposite direction. So move the tongue the opposite direction to what you've just done 3 times. Did we even notice that our tongue has a preference for the direction it goes? We think the tongue's a nice symmetrical thing. It's in the midline of the body, but the tongue has preference, and has more strength one side than the other side. So Tai Chi is about bringing balance to everything in our body. So I think that's quite a lovely exercise. There's an old Chinese saying that says, drink your food and chew your drink. And the idea of that is every mouthful of food you take, Professor Wong, I think, used to say to chew it like 100 times every mouthful. Imagine how slow we'd eat if we did that, until the food was like liquid. So it's drinking your food and then to eat your drink, because often we just sort of gulp the drink down, but he's saying, look, even slow down the intake of your drinking as well. Be more aware of that. Anyway, it's a bit of fun. So I will invite you to sit in a nice balanced posture, feet steadily connected with the earth, nice and balanced on the weight on the buttocks. You're welcome to close your eyes now if you wish, or just gaze down at the floor, whatever works. And let's just bring our awareness within. We've done a little bit of movement today, but we've done a lot of breathing. We've perhaps done a lot of thinking or analysing. So just notice, how does this feel in the body? Again, there's no judgments, but it's an opportunity to listen to our body. Our body's always providing information to us that we very rarely notice or pay attention. So here is an opportunity for today to pay attention to the body. And let's pay attention to the mind. What's happening in the mind right now? Where is the mind? Is it here anchored in the body? Or is the body anchored in the mind? And let's become aware of the breath. We've been doing a lot of Dantian breathing in our movements. Has that carried over? Or are we still breathing down in Dantian? Or is the breath experience more elsewhere, maybe up in the chest? Again, there's no judgment about, oh, it should be this way or that way. No, it's just an opportunity to notice what's arising here now. I will invite you to keep that awareness from the beginning, the middle and the end of your in-breath and the beginning, middle and end of your out-breath for 3 breaths in and out. And when you're finished, if your eyes are closed, I invite you to open your eyes again. Coming out of a very short sit. Having a stretch. Change the posture if we need to.